Hey viewers, my name's Cara. I'm your Tuesday host on the Pagan Perspective, and this week we are talking about pagan religion in schools. Now, I can't remember if we have talked about this in the past. I know that I have done notes to make a personal channel video on this and never got around to doing it, so that might be what I'm thinking of. But the topic this week literally just said, can you talk about pagan religion in schools? I mean, any pagan religion. And the first place that I went with this is just the whole concept of teaching religion in public schools anyway, and what do I think about that? And then I was texting Rich because I didn't get these topics for these next 2 months out to them actually yet at all. This is the only topic that anyone knows so far, because I am currently without internet at home because my roommate finally moved out and took the modem, even though they said they would leave it. So we're just without internet for a few days while we transfer it and get someone out here to get us a new modem and things, but that's beside the point. So I was talking to Rich because of this, and the first thing he said was, well, yeah, in my school we learned about mythology and things like that, but that was pretty much it. And I wasn't even thinking in those terms, so I'm really glad he said something. So now I get to talk about that as well. My basic overall thought on this type of subject is, and I think I have said this before, if not about religion in schools, I've said it about other topics. So you guys have heard this, you know this is my basic opinion, it hasn't changed, that I don't necessarily think that religion needs to be taught in a public school. Private schools are completely different animals, so I understand that, and I'm not really talking about those schools because I don't know a lot about how the mechanics of those schools work. I went to a public school. But as far as public schools go, I don't think that religion needs to be taught in them. I think that's something that you learn from your family, that's something you learn from your spiritual community, and it shouldn't be part of the curriculum in and of itself. However, if history, sociology, psychology, science, any other subject that might bring up religion is going to talk about 1 or 2 or 3 religions, then I think that there should be equal opportunity to bring up the way that other religions feel about the same topic. I don't think that they should be teaching how 1 or 2 religions feel about a topic and not broadening it to at least a basic idea of what all these other religions also think. Now that can get really complicated, and that's why I'm saying it doesn't even really need to be done. But there are some places where certain religions' ideas come up, and I think they should be allowed to talk about them because school is where you learn, and in a lot of cases, families are not going to teach kids about other religions. They're only going to teach them about the family religion. So I do think that there is a place in a school environment for bringing up academically the things that I don't think that it's a place for teaching someone how to be a member of any religion. But, historically speaking, this is what happened when, this is what this group thought about this, anything like that. I know I'm being really vague, but that's because there's not a whole lot of specific examples until I get to this kind of thing, where I do think that school is a place where kids should be safe to learn and grow, and kids in public schools especially, but also in private schools that may even have a religious context to them, kids in the classes are going to be diverse. Those kids are going to be part of different religions. And I think that that is a good opportunity to learn a bit about the other's views. So if that is a place where that can happen, I don't think that's a huge problem. And I would like to avoid instances like what happened in my high school when my friend was kicked out of study hall in the library for a day because the librarian was going around blessing people with holy water, and my friend politely declined, saying, "No, thank you, I'm Buddhist," and the librarian kicked her out because of that. And things like that are ridiculous, and they are not right, and they do happen, especially when no one's going to say anything about it. And us being young at the time, I hadn't really found that part of my voice yet. I hadn't really had that confidence to say anything yet. Now, if something like that happened, I would go to the administration, like I did in high school, when a professor called me a liar because he found out that I practiced things like crystal healing and energy work, and he thought that that was lying to people, and made it very clear and talked about it in front of whoever was standing there on the sidewalk, in front of his class, in front of my class. So things like that do happen, and I want it to be able to be an open dialogue when those things do happen. There are also moments, as I mentioned, in a curriculum where things come up, like when English classes teach the crucible. Witchcraft comes up, And if people don't know the history about witchcraft, or if the teachers are not encouraged to approach that kind of topic from a place of not picking sides, then what you get is what happened to my friend's kid when he was in, I think it was a history class actually. This wasn't a Crucible specific story, but that's a place that I know that it always really comes up, and because a lot of schools do still teach the Crucible pretty regularly. My friend's kid, who is also a friend of mine, is in his history class one day, and somehow the topic of paganism comes up, and one of the kids asks, "What is paganism?" The teacher tells the class, the educator informs the students that paganism is a made-up religion where you can do whatever you want, like you could even worship a lamp if you wanted to. Actually, I apologize. That is a quote from someone of you, one of you, who watches my personal channel, who told me that that is what their teacher said. What happened in my friend's kids' class was that he told them that it was outdated, and he said something about Satanism and they worship the devil, and my friend's kid raised his hand and said, "That's not true." And the teacher was like, "Yeah, it is. They worship the devil and it's evil and blah, blah, blah." And my friend's kid goes, "No, they don't." And, you know, if we don't have kids like that who know about it and then who are willing to speak up, then that entire class would then believe that that's what paganism is about. So the one thing that I do want to happen, personally, if I could control this, what I would want to happen in schools is if the subject came up because of an academic pursuit, whether it be history, literature, science, whatever the case may be, if it happens to come up, then the teachers should know enough about it to be able to tell the students, well, it's a religion. You know, that would be a huge improvement from what some teachers tell kids about paganism now. And the same goes for any religion. They should be able to say, oh yeah, this is a religion, this is their basic belief system. If you want to learn more about it, this is a good book you could find in our school library. Now let's get back to the lesson. Or, you know, I really don't know that much about it other than that it's a religion that originated here, or whatever you happen to know about it, or I really don't know much about that. Maybe we can find some time to look it up later together, or I know that there are some resources, maybe the librarian can help you out. Not if she was my high school librarian, because she'd be like, why are you looking that up? She is no longer the librarian, don't worry. But you know, that kind of thing, that's my basic thing. And then getting into what Rich was talking about with the mythology, I did learn mythology in high school. We specifically focused on Greek mythology for a lot of the time because we were reading Edith Hamilton's mythology, which is Greek. And especially also in theater, we read a lot of Greek plays, and I took an ancient philosophy course where I was learning about Plato and Socrates and Aristotle, and the one whose team I was on for the debate, I don't remember his name now, and I'm also confusing them with playwrights. Aristophanes, Sophocles, Euripides. Anyway, so we did learn about some basic mythology, and I remember in 5th grade I was in this kind of like advanced class. It was just for the quote-unquote gifted kids. I don't know if they still use that term now, but it was a class that we would go to for part of the day where we would learn more advanced things. And the one year we were learning about marine biology, and we got to do specific projects within that. And the next year we were learning about Egyptian culture. And I remember my favorite part was learning about hieroglyphs, because I had this little kit thing that my mom had gotten me at a local store that sold a lot of educational gift items for kids. I loved it. It was actually a greenhouse and flower shop that also sold these things, and they were always so cool. I would get little origami things from there, or little puzzle games, and then they had this hieroglyph game thing. And it was a plastic sarcophagus, mummy actually, it wasn't the sarcophagus, it looked like a mummy. And inside it had all these little hieroglyph cards, and then it would be like Scrabble, kind of, where you would put the little cards of the hieroglyphs in to spell out whatever it was. And so I already had been learning a bit about hieroglyphs on my own at that point, and then we got to do it in class, and I was so excited. So there were some instances where different pagan cultures were brought up, but they were never addressed in a religious framework. It was, this is mythology, this is the writing and literature and music and theater of these cultures, and yeah, so, and I think that's fine, but yeah, I think if the religious aspect comes up, our educators should be educated themselves and be able to portray correct information to their classes, instead of just being able to say things like, it's lies, it's nonsense, it's made up, it's devil worship, it's whatever. And if they are talking about devil worship, then they should say it is, you know, because that does exist. It's just not what everyone else thinks it is. Maybe just for the sake of dealing with parents, they shouldn't talk about that one as much, because I know that one would be a little bit more difficult for some people to absorb. But yeah, just the plain old idea of saying it is a religion. You can learn more about it on your own, whatever. This is a long video. I have to go to the library now in order to use the internet to upload these videos and do a whole bunch of other things that I need to do. I took the day off today, and my friend who works with me is working in place of me today so I can get these things done. So now that these are recorded, I'm going to edit. Still have to post the last few days of my vlog every day in April on my personal channel, so I'll be finishing that up today as well as a bunch of things like collab topics and other projects. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you next week. Don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.